Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here at Tank12. However you call me, I don't really care. And welcome back to World of Tanks, where we are taking out our E50m for a nice little spin. This tank has recently gotten a buff with patch 1.01.1, which was just released yesterday. This tank now sports, I think, 250mm of frontal turret armor, which it previously did not have. And that can be a game changer for the E50m, because this tank previously, if it was hull down, because the lower plate obviously is a major weak spot, but the upper plate is rather strong with the angle and the 150mm of armor that you have. The turret kind of was a major weak spot for the vehicle. You can see these viewports right here, probably for the gunner and the commander. Commander being over here, I think, because you can see the cupola over there as well. So I think the commander should have like the best viewports. Those are the best viewports that he can have. Those were some major weak spots as well. They have been increased by, I think, about 400mm. No, they have been increased by about 200mm of armor. They're now about 450mm thick, I think. I currently do not have any mods installed, so I cannot tell you guys the exact armor efficiency up front, because the solo mod has not been updated yet. But still, that is something that is quite exciting for us E50m drivers, because this vehicle is kind of the perfect example for a medium tank that is a great heavy and medium tank transition vehicle, because this tech tree is perfect for people that play medium tanks and want to have some armor and that came from heavy tanks, right? So this is a great line for all of those players who want to have some armor but still want to be mobile enough. And also with the armor comes obviously the weight of this vehicle, which we can check out in mobility right here. This tank weighs almost 70 tons if you fully load it out, like it weighs almost 75 tons if you fully max it out. And we are running the improved hardening class 1 perk or equipment in one of the equipment slots, because this one gives you additional, well, it doesn't give you additional damage when you're ramming, but it reduces damage when you're ramming. And this is a tank that is really good at ramming other vehicles, ramming other medium tanks, even heavy tanks. If you want to go after AMX 50B, go for it. This tank can ram it. And that together with, I think, an increase of HP, actually it's just the 170 HP increase that we get from the improved hardening. It still is 2050, but it should give you a little bit of a better performing vehicle. And we're going to check it out right now. We're going to go into a game and we're going to do a live commentary gameplay style right here, because I think trying it out live is probably the best way to see how the vehicle can perform. The question is just if we're gonna able to get into a position where they actually shoot our turret, because I've noticed, I've played a couple of games in the E50m now, I've noticed that people usually tend to shoot my lower plate, especially if I'm just charging them. And well, the question is also, does the added armor help if everyone is just slugging high explosive anti-tank ammunition? So yeah, heat is going to be an issue still, because 260, and if you have like 300mm of heat, you can still go through the turret of this vehicle. But yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. Now we're going to be playing the middle part, E5 and E6, and we're going to see if we can spot them through the bushes, or if somebody does spot them for us, and if we can, you know, stick back a little bit and still do some decent amount of damage. Because previously, if you had like a good position with this tank, it still tended to get like penned quite easily from the front, and it kind of completely neglected the strong suit of this vehicle, which is the armor. But yeah, the armor, the added HP, the ramming speed make this a very unique kind of medium tank, in my opinion. And still, I think, one of my favorites. It's not one of the first tier 10 medium tanks that I've unlocked, but it certainly is one of my favorite tier 10s. But yeah, probably didn't feel as powerful as it once was before, like, they added some certain medium tank into the fray. You know, with the Object 430U and with the 121, the meta has basically changed very much from, you know, medium tanks that had like decent armor but weren't like invincible to basically medium tanks that were kind of invincible and had way too much armor and were just ridiculously overpowered. But this is also a decent sniper, to be fair. The pen on the gun is also very, very impressive. I think 270mm. You can go through anything with that kind of pen. It's a bit awkward now at the moment, this situation, because we have an Object 432 that is playing very aggressively right there. And he just went into the spot where our tank destroyers usually sit. And sometimes the medium tanks also tend to go for that position, but turns out all of our medium tanks, me included, have decided to be a bit more proactive right here. We're gonna see through this bush and see if we can spot anything. I think my view range is decent enough. But still, yeah, it's a German medium tank. It's a German tank, definitely. It has decent armor, or a lot of armor, if you compare it to other vehicles of the class. But it is a very rectangular, very angled, like box-shaped vehicle. So if somebody does decide to make a bit of a mess, you might end up in some very awkward situations. Right there, okay, we were just spotted. CS63, that's the... Oh god, please don't park behind me. Okay, we have heavy tanks moving in now into the city. Nice shot right there. Okay, and our turret takes the first bounce. That was all I wanted to see. Right there. I think we tracked him. No, we did not. We just had one of those annoying critical hits with no damage. And we have a big problem behind this, because our heavy tanks, no, our tank destroyers are kind of all by themselves. And there are some medium tanks moving in on him. So this is a very awkward scenario right now. We bounced one from the Object. Actually, we bounced it on the side of our turret, which is quite interesting. Because I think the side of the turret definitely did not get any buffs. But there is the Object 430. There's the EBR. Too low. They actually don't see me anymore, but they can see everyone that's behind me, so... This is a very awkward situation, because usually this does not happen. Usually you do not have vehicles that are able to get that close without, you know, getting engaged by either the middle or by the guy sitting in the back. So we now have a very awkward situation where they can actually shoot us from two directions. So I decided to actually fall back from the middle, because I did not feel kind of safe right there. Oh, somebody just took a massive hit by that FV. Yeah, that's why you have a FV in the back. That FV just, he did not fuck around. Now the weird part is that there we go, we take him out. Very annoying vehicle taken care of. We have already lost an artillery piece. I don't know where we lost it. Okay, it was at the back there at A1 or maybe A2. Yeah, you do not want to lose an arty piece on this map because you'll need the artillery support. It's one of those maps where you can go hidden very, very quickly. The enemy team can be quite dangerous on the counter. And you can disappear very, very quickly. Oh my god, okay, did you see that? That JT just took a massive round to the face. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over there. We're going to assist. Well, we're a bit in troubled area right now because we do not want to get exposed while we're crossing. Because there's still a chieftain behind us, but we have to go help. Okay, you know what? We're going to commit to this. We'll have to cross because the Yak Tiger and the E50m and the CS63, they will take out this RU251 and the FV. So I'm just going to tell him that I'm going to be coming over to assist him. And maybe we can even make this an area where we can actually push. So you can see we've been playing very cautiously with the E50m because I do not fully trust its armor completely, to be fair. But the few times where we were actually shot at, we managed to bounce quite a few shots. But it's certainly not going to hold up in case of some serious adversaries that are engaging us from the front, especially with this chieftain taking out several tanks right now. This RU251 is a bit too aggressive. He should just use the bushes. But you can see the armor does still hold up. We just bounced the heat shell. I'm not sure where we bounced it. Lower plate, very interesting right there. It's not something I expect to bounce on the lower plate. But we unfortunately bounced the E4. Still gets taken care of. That was a monster of a shot from the E50. We bounced the T95, the chieftain. I know that the E50m is low HP. We know that the CS63 is going to be low HP as well. So what I'm going to be doing is now I'm going to move up. I have decent view range, I think, on this tank. I've not really played my E50m in a very long time. Didn't really think there was a reason to play this tank, since the object 430U was out, to be fair. But I can provide some ice. Oh boy. And I just lagged right there. So CS63 is right there. He has double bushed and he has spotted us when we were crossing, so maybe this aggressive play right now is not the best, but we're currently we're no longer drawing. It's very awkward. The CS63 certainly knows what he's doing. He has decided to retreat. And I've lost quite a bit of HP. I've only lost HP to him so far. Oh boy. We're losing tanks over there. I do not want to push with an E50m at the moment. I'm gonna just fall back, which is kind of dumb. This entire move was dumb. I did not expect them to decide to push the city. So we just lost 400 HP for nothing right there. But we have some more pressing matters because our town was defeated. We've lost like vehicle after vehicle. 1 by 1 by 1. It's not something you want to have on this map. This is exactly what I meant with how you can always like reposition on this map, and it's just so freaking effective if you know how to move, how to get to a certain position, and how to utilize your tank correctly. Makes this entire combat a bit awkward, to be fair. But I'd say the armor definitely did hold up. It's still one of those medium tanks that can suffer through a lot of enemy fire. Maybe I should have committed to the push, but you're always smarter after the fact. But if I would have committed to the push, I probably would have had to fight a E50m, a CS63, and a E50m all by myself. That's not something you want to do. So it's now just the FE and me sitting in the back, and we're not going to be very effective. Because once we get spotted, it's going to be hell on earth. And I don't have the best camouflage on this tank, to be fair. So I don't feel very... Oh, I'm dead. Yeah, I expected the AP shell from the Yak Panzer. Yeah, I did not feel very comfortable in that situation right there. Our FE is going to die, but hopefully he's going to be able to take the CS63 with him. Not a very successful game by any kind of margin. We didn't really do a lot. We were sitting much more passively. They were very aggressive, and it paid out in the end. Our RU-251 was a bit ridiculous. Certainly not a light tank player who has played a lot of games in a LT. Their EBR was a lot more effective, although it was taken out quite early on in the game. So yeah, it was a bit of an awkward scenario right there, because that CS, yeah, that's a very good player. That CS63 just completely took care of us. And once again, we have a couple of vehicles that just underperformed. But yeah, to be fair, I like the new E50m. I like the turret armor. It wasn't really tested that much, so we're just gonna jump into another one, and maybe I'm just gonna edit this out. But let's see. We're gonna try another one and see if the game is actually not too long, and we're gonna figure it out. Okay, that is another match with a lot of artillery. A lot of artillery, a lot of medium tanks. This could be the game where we could play a very aggressive... You know what? We're gonna risk it. I'm gonna be playing a very aggressive strat with the E50m. I'm gonna show you guys what I intend to do. The E50m, it does have armor, but it certainly is no Chieftain or T110E5 for that matter, because those things are heavy tanks, and those heavy tanks certainly are equipped with good armor that will protect your vehicle from incoming fire. The E50m, on the other hand, I think the lower plate is maybe 180 millimeters thick. Max, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. I don't know the exact numbers, but it certainly doesn't have the same kind of armor layout that other vehicles have. Okay, that's very awkward. We do not want that. We have to be very careful when we're playing this position, because we do not want to get shot in the rear by the UDAs. That's kind of awkward. So you kind of lose a couple of positions, a couple of options right here. This map has actually been reworked a little bit, so those vehicles can now cross onto the other side, which is quite interesting. If you've previously played this mode, there's a T95. Obviously, we're going to be facing a T95. To be fair, I should have expected a T95. There's the 277. I'm gonna load some serious high explosive anti-tank ammunition because I will not be engaging that guy with APCR. And what you can actually do on this side, if the game will let me just a second, because this rubble is a bit difficult to traverse, is you can actually get into this position, and since they can now, you know, just go over to the other side, hopefully we're not going to get shot by the Udas. You can just do this. Look at that. Look at those bounces. Very nice. So I decided to move to the other side of this, well, of this little village. Unfortunate. And what ended up happening right there was, well, now we're protected from T95 if he wanted to actually push us. Well, we can actually even flank him. But, oh boy, right there. At the same time, you're kind of exposed to the back of the map right there. If they spot you, those TDs will eat you up. You can see we just were penned by the object 277 on our turret with high explosive anti-tank ammunition. So, very awkward indeed. T95 just killed our Type 4 Heavy. That was actually a very important ally for me right here, because now... Okay, we still have a turret, he doesn't have a turret, so he's gonna be in a bit of a awkward situation. And if he's moving away, he's gonna use this Type 4 Heavy as a wreck. As cover, yeah. And artillery takes care of him. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. But, yeah. As already mentioned, turret armor is nice and dandy if they're not shooting high explosive anti-tank ammunition at you. And having just, you know, played this spot very aggressively, actually turns out that this tank can still be a very viable option at tier 10. We've gotten a lot of assistance damage. The DPM on the vehicle itself, if you've played like other vehicles before, is not as impressive, but that has to do with my equipment and with my layout, because I actually play this tank a bit more as an aggressive, pushing kind of medium tank that can breach through lines that maybe will not do the maximum amount of damage. But still, we were able to bounce quite a few shots. We bounced the... What did we bounce? We bounced the object, we bounced the T10, we bounced that tier 10 Swedish medium tank, the Udes. I don't even know exactly where he was. He was on the left side. And yeah, unfortunately, the only two pens that managed to deal any damage to our vehicle was the object 277. Now we have a crossfire going on over here. There's a Conway, and this guy was just blown up by the AMX 5120. Okay, I gotta take care of this AMX 5120 because this is a very awkward scenario. We've just lost a lot of tanks. It's just a very close game still in the end, so take him out of the game. Dangerous tier 9 auto loader. And now we have a bad chat over here who is running right towards us. The Conway is still alive and kicking. Oh boy, that's awkward. That's awkward AF. Gonna use these bushes. Somebody please take out that bad chat. Thank you very much. Okay, that's awkward. Artillery and the Conway will now be very, very annoying. Okay, this has become a very tense game. We have actually completely managed to screw this one up. How is that possible? How did my team just die so quickly, all over the place? This Death Star is going to die in just a second because he's going to be out and about. This EBR, we need to take out this EBR. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is frustrating. He just took a capital punishment this round. Have to be careful of this EBR. I know that the Conway is over there. I might need to take a dip. Oh, yeah, we're dead. Impossible. This is impossible. So we just lost this game. How do we lose this game? I'm gonna do an analysis on this game in probably in a day or so. I'm gonna check this out. I'm gonna take a closer look because this is unacceptable that we just lost this game like that. We had a Chieftain who was going to the right. We had an AMX 5120 was going to the right. We had an Object 705 with us, and we had me pushing. And I decided to take out the AMX 5120 because I thought they had the Conway, but the Object 705. The Object 705 was ammo wrecked, so he was very unlucky. He was ammo wrecked by the AMX 5120. They killed him instantly. The EBR was roaming around. The Bat Chat was like living forever over there. And they killed the STRV, they killed the FV, they killed the our EBR or AMX 1390, I'm not sure. The light tank. No, they killed our EBR. And I died over here because, like, okay, the question is, did I make a massive misplay by going after the AMX 5120? Or was I right to assume that my team was able to take out this Conway? Because to be fair, I think the enemy artillery really, really did a lot of damage to these guys. They were just hassled, and this was a proper ambush on two sides. Like, great play by the AMX 5120, great play by the Conway. They ambushed us, they took us out from both sides, and yeah, this is how we lose the game. That is crazy. We just lost this game. This is a game that you should never lose. If you have that many tanks remaining against, I don't know, 6 vehicles, you cannot lose 10 versus 6. That's not how this game should go. But yeah, very interesting indeed. There is probably going to be analysis later, but not in this video. Yeah, that kind of sucked. We managed to do most damage. Again, like a very poor display of damage on my team. I don't have XVM. I don't know those stats, but you know, a tier 9 doing 1,000, 100 or 200 damage, that is just not good enough. I mean, at least I got like 1,934 assisted damage, 3,369. That's not even that good in the E50m, to be fair. But you know, kind of expected more. I expected more from our artillery as well. If you look at their arty, 3,000 damage almost. The other arty 1,200. Okay, that's close to the other two of the 3 arties. The other one's 0 damage. Okay, but that's just RNG. I think. Look at this guy. He dished out damage in that game. Yeah. So, what can I say about the new and improved E50m? So, I think the changes are not huge. The E50m is still a vehicle that can do particularly well in certain scenarios where the enemy doesn't really aim very well. As you could see right there, the T10, the Object 140, they were under pressure. They shot at me. I was angling my armor a little bit, and they kind of bounced off me. Same with the T95, he hit my tracks. The other one was the the Swedish tier 10 medium tank that didn't really fare very well. But as soon as they started shooting heat with that Object 277, yeah, the fun was over. I took 2 shots that I should not have taken, because in the end I was lacking the HP that I needed to engage that convoy. So yeah, maybe it was a misplay on my part, but you know what, we're gonna analyze that game in a separate video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this live commentary gameplay. I hope I could give you a little bit of insight to how the E50m now is compared to previously. I think the change on the turret obviously is great for standard shells. You're no longer going to be getting penetrated by standard shells that easily as you were previously. Premium shells, high explosive anti-tank is probably going to go through you at tier 10, at tier 9. Maybe not at tier 9, but at tier 8, probably not. So that is something to look forward to. If you enjoyed the E50m, I think this is the best time to take this tank out again and enjoy it once more. So yeah, that's all I can say. We're going to wrap this up. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out until then.